Alright guys, quick one here. Make sure my mic is good, everything's good, sound is great. Guys, what you've seen on the screen, somebody put this flyer together today and I saw it on WhatsApp. So, I want to give the person kudos for putting it together. But basically, what is being shown here is, what is being shown here is the 70%, right? The RRF, the Results Reconciliation Forms, the 70% that the APC as a political party had during the June 24th, 2023 elections. So I know the reason why I've decided to do this live, it's going to be a quick live, is because people have been asking, where's the source document? And again, I'm not going to blame you guys, but it's just that Sierra Leoneans, we don't pay attention. It goes back to, there's this saying that they have where they talk about the fact that if you want to hide, it's more like a myth these days, but they say if you want to hide, stuff from black folks, just put it in a book. You put it in a book, it gets lost in translation. But that is not true, because I know my brothers, we've come a long way and people are trying to make sure, that we get things done. But that's what that quote says right there. And let me maximize this on the screen so you guys can see what it is and show it to you on this screen right here. It's even better. But this person is saying, Malcolm X once said, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. And there's this stigma that, black people are even young people, black people and even young people don't read. And every day I fight to make sure my son understands the book, the power of a book and the gift of literature. So basically they're saying if you want to hide anything from black folks, just put it in the book. And that leads me to what I want to talk about, because I want to show you guys that this stuff that this person put together, this brochure that was put together by this person, as beautiful as it is, but this came from the tripartite report. From the agreement, the tripartite report, that's where this came from. So this 1,057% of the vote, after 70% of the RF forms that was put together by the APC, it came from the, tripartite report. So I had a few folks in some WhatsApp groups that were asking for the source document. So I'm going to give you guys the source document. This is the source document right here. All right. This is the source document right here. And I want to show you guys this. And I'm going to put it on the screen here so you guys can see. But this is the report, the tripartite report, that came from, after the agreement for national unity, and they had a tripartite. It's all of that stuff is in that document, basically. That's what I want you guys to know about. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, so you can, know exactly what is going on. But that is what it is. And I just want you guys to see that, okay? And I'm going to show you guys this so you guys can see it. But let me maximize this again on the screen for you so you guys can see. Because first of all, I'm going to show you guys like a double-sided page here so you guys can see exactly what it is. But what you're going to see on your screen here, this is what the on the left side of the screen whilst you're watching this. On the left side is what ECSL announced. So right on this left side, that's what ECSL announced about the results that the SLPP and the final results, the 98% of the results from ECSL. That is what they announced. That is what you see on the left side right here, the side that is moving. That is what ECSL announced. And on this side that is moving, this is the 70% RRF forms, 70.2% result reconciliation forms that the APC had, which showed Dr. Samura Kamara had a commanding lead of 57.15% of the votes. So if you look, right there, you'll see that this is the 70% of, the results that was tabulated. That was the total number of votes. But you guys have to see it. This is in the document, okay? It's in the tripartite report. and I'm going to put the link so you guys can see it. But this is the result that the APC had after they tabulated 70% of the RRF forms, which shows that the APC had, 57.15% of the votes. All right? And that's what I want you guys to see. That's what I want you guys to see. So when you look at this brochure that was put together, that is on social media today, it's on WhatsApp everywhere, people think it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It is in the tripartite report. That is the person who did this as such a good job that they did. I'm sure this is one of those AI generated stuff, but the source document is right here in front of you. And that's what I want to share with you guys. I want you guys to see it. These are the source documents. It's right in here in the tripartite report that came out of July 19th, 2024, something like that. I want you guys to see that, okay? So I'm going to maximize this on the screen so you guys can see it. But this is the result that showed the commanding lead that the APC, Dr. Samura Kamara, had. All right? This, of course, as you can see here, shows all the polling station and everything. And but this is 70% of the RRF forms. 70% of the RRF forms. All right? As you can see, these are all the polling stations. Basically, this is all the polling stations and the votes from the polling stations and stuff like that. All right? But this is the tripartite report. So everything here is this flyer that you see going around on social media today. This flyer is from the tripartite report. This flyer that you see on the screen, this person that put it together did a good job of making it very visual and easy for you all to see it. But it's in the tripartite report. You just have to read the reports. Take the time. This is the 70% of the votes that the APC had. So this is it right here. The 70% of the RRF forms that was tabulated by the APC party. This shows right here. I'm going to put it on the screen again so you guys can see. But this is it right here. If you look, and I'm going to maximize this place. So this is the 57.15% that Dr. Samura Kamara had, the APC, after they tabulated 70% of the result reconciliation forms. As you can see, 70%. This is where this brochure that you see on the screen, this brochure right here that is on social media, that it's on WhatsApp today, and kudos to these people who put it together. But this brochure, then you look at this source document right here. This is where the information came from. The 70% of the RRF forms, which shows that Dr. Samura Kamara, the APC party, had 57.15%, whilst Julius Marabio and the SLPP as a party had this 39.8%. That is what you guys see. This is from the 70% of the result reconciliation forms. So 39% for the SLPP. After APC had 70%. And this is in the tripartite report. That's what makes it very authentic. So I want you guys to see that. This is the source document for this brochure that is on social media. You might have seen it on WhatsApp, where it shows you the breakdown of the 70% of the RRF forms. How the APC had a commanding lead of 57.15%. As you can see here, this is it right here. The APC had 57.15% at 70% of the votes. So you only had 29% left. So there is no magic. There is no magic that would have had the SLPP, have all 29% of the votes remaining left. All 29% say there is no way that is possible for all of that to go to the SLPP, for the SLPP to win that elections, because they were already at 39%. So there's no way they will have the remaining 29%. It's not possible. Statistically, it's not possible to have it. So that is why the elections is highly contested. But this is the source document. This is the tripartite report. Like I said, I'll put a link in the comment section, and you can go into the comment section and find it. All right, but this is right here. This is the document. This is everything that you need to know. And this is where the ECSL, this is what ECSL announced. All right, this is the ECSL announced results. That is what I want to show you guys so you guys can see that. So we can all be on the same page. This is what ECSL announced. All right. And I'm going to put both on the screen so you guys can see, because we have to make sure you guys understand these things. You guys have to do your research. Read stuff, Sierra Leoneans. Read. It's very crucial. It's very important. All right. But this is it right here. This on the left side, this is going to be the 70% RRF reconciliation forms from the APC. Right here on the left side that you see moving, that is the 70%. All right, that is the 70% of the results. That is what you see. And on this side is what ECSL announced. All right, this is what ECSL announced. The 98%, the final results that ECSL announced. Say 98%, and you can do the comparisons on the numbers, because when you look at, for example, if we take it, systematically in Kailahun, APC tabulated, APC had at the time of the 70% in Kailahun, the APC had 6,141 votes, and then the SLPP had 68,000 votes, and then that was 70%. 68,000 votes for the SLPP in Kailahun. And by the time ECSL announced 98% of the votes, imagine at 70%, it was 68,787. By the time Mohamed Kanawe Kone announced the final results, making it a total of 98%, Kailahun, SLPP had 172,000. 172,000. So from 70%, that's why you can see the discrepancy. So from 70%, SLPP had 68,000, APC had 6,100. But by 98%, SLPP had 172,000. So by 110,000 jump. That's just the 29%. And then the APC had 8,842. And don't tell me the people of Kailahun and all these people are very tribal, they vote tribal. Yes, to a certain extent, but you can just see the misnomer in the jump from 70% all the way, to 98% of the votes. Just that little 28%, it jumped from 68,000 to 172,000 for the SLPP. So what you see here is the tripartite report. I want you guys to have it. I want you guys to know it is there. All right. This is the source document. That is what is important, and that is what I want to share with you guys. So I'm going to copy the link and I'm going to paste it in the comment section for you guys to you can take a look at it at your convenience and comfort. But this is the link. All right. So the tripartite report. Tripartite report. All right. This is the link. Link to tripartite report. All right. Cool. So I've pasted it there. But again, like I said, I did this live because I wanted you guys to know that if you've seen this on social media today, the source document for this information, this is not new, because a lot of people think it's new. And I've listened to some messages on WhatsApp and they're like, oh man, we told you guys this thing is not over. And it's not over, because that's why I'm here still talking about the elections. We should not be looked at as a nation of stupid fools, where we have elections and the results are not properly announced, and we don't have the polling station data, because that's what we need to certify the results, right? So the polling station data. So we have 70% of the result reconciliation forms from the APC. The remaining 28%, where is it at, right? So we need that information. When you say you have elections, nothing is perfect in this world, but we should have at least a 99% accuracy with our results, because you're talking about the votes of people. People made sacrifices for that country. We've had a brutal rebel war in that country. The people have been oppressed and suppressed for so long. the only option and the only will, and avenue and power that they have is their vote, and that should not be taken away from them. And that is why we're talking about this. But I just want you guys to know, this is not something new. This did not just pop out of nowhere. This is in the tripartite report, and I want you guys to see it. And that is why I decided to do this quick live and share that with you, so you guys can know that it's in the tripartite report. And like I said again, I'm gonna go. Let me maximize this on the screen for you guys and take you guys all the way, to the top of the page so you can see it. But this is the tripartite report, all right? This is the report from the tripartite, the cross-party committee on electoral systems and management. It's 542 pages. You can take it by small bites. But if you come, I just drag and I bring it down to some of the areas that I'm looking for. You can even find all the commissioners here. If you do Control F and do commissioners, you will see that we can find all the commissioners, the ones that conducted the elections and stuff like that. This is all the recommendations, but I know where the commissioners are. I can drag that down here and I can show you the commissioners and stuff. So these are your commissioners. These are all the commissioners. All right, we all know now that Mohamed Kanawi Kone, of course, is no longer part of the thing. But this is the tripartite report. This is where you have all the recommendations. All right, this is Mohamed Kanawi Kone. This is Edmond Halfa, whom the APC said they don't want. This is Marianne Sianuma Mweje. She's one of the commissioners that conducted the June 24th, 2023 election. Matter of fact, we've never even seen this lady say anything. These are the people that know what they're doing. They don't talk. They just play low, like, nobody would really care. You don't hear them saying nothing. Absolutely silence, right? They know what they're doing. They don't even want, exposing them like this now. They don't like that. But, hey, you're public servants, so, we got to do what we got to do. But these are the commissioners that conducted the June 24th, 2023 elections. These were the people that allowed Mohamed Kanawi Kone to announce the results, even when at certain places like Port Loko, Honorable Kamosisi made it very clear that they were still counting. Some of the boxes were still sealed when the ECSL announced the results. So that's a disgrace. It's a shame to our democracy. And tribalism is what has killed us, so much so that people are actually, supporting these kinds of nonsense, when they know if it was on the other side, they would not support that because they know it's wrong. And with everything we went through, for them to flagrantly violate our elections the way they did, it is a travesty. And we should not allow it to stay, right? Every citizen has a responsibility. This is not a one-man thing. Every Sierra Leonean has a responsibility. Even if the leaders, say, hey, I don't let me kiss God, that does not mean you as a citizen should give up, right? Yes, you have limited power because the leader does not have the power that the leader have. You don't have that kind of power, right? But you as a citizen, you should hold that in your mind, knowing that, hey, what happened was wrong and I'm not going to move past that. If anything, as a citizen, just to protect the Constitution and protect the reputation of Sierra Leone, I think you have a responsibility. But this is the tripartite report, all right? This is everything you need to know. All the recommendations are in here. If you're not sure about the recommendations, they are all here, recommendations 1 all the way through, all right? You can see the recommendations right here, recommendation 80, this one. But all the recommendations are right here, guys. So we can take it all the way through and you'll see the recommendations. All right, so these are what the things I need you to know. So recommendation 1, as an example, as you can see here, right? That's recommendation 1. The Electoral Commission must consult on the consultation policy, must promulgate and publish this policy within 3 months of the submission of this report. The consultation policy is to apply to all Commission policies, regulation and guidance. The policy should provide for designation of Electoral Commission stakeholders who form a standing consultation list. So these are all the recommendations. If you hear people talking about the recommendations for the tripartite, recommendation this, recommendation that, all of this is here. Matter of fact, I did a live where I actually shared, let me see if I could find that PowerPoint. I did do maybe I didn't see it, but let me see. I did do a presentation on that. on the recommendations. Alright. Probably I did on my other computer, not on this one. But I did a presentation on the recommendations from the tripartite. Now, okay, I'll let that be. But I just wanted to let you know that this is what is actually happening. If you see on WhatsApp today this flyer, I don't want you to think it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. This is from the tripartite reports that I have on the screen that I've been showing you guys. This is the 70% of the results reconciliation forms, the RRF forms, that was collected by the APC, which showed that the APC had a commanding lead of 57.15%. And then when ECSL announced the final result, at a time when even certain polling stations, they were still counting the results, but ECSL went ahead and announced anyways, going against, the will of the people. So that is why I want to share this with you, so you can know that the tripartite report has everything that you're looking for. It has it. I want to see if I could find a. Let me see. Let me find something here. Yeah, because Honorable Kamosisi made it very clear that at the time, when they were actually, they were counting, at the polling station. But I really wanted to share that with you guys. I want you guys to see that and know that if you see this is not new. So it's nothing new. I don't want nobody to go around telling people that this is new, or the international partners and this and that. We cannot rely on the international partners, guys. There is no way we can rely on them. Those people, sometimes folks say, oh, the international partners, they're hypocrites. They're not. They're not to a certain extent. If you don't do what you should do for them to intervene, the international partners will never get involved in your sovereignty, because again, sovereignty is a thing. So until you act and do what you're supposed to do, that's when they'll come in. So a lot of times you find out that until, there is a disaster, then now they have a reason to come in and settle things. But to say the international partners will just come in, oh, well, let's remove this person, put this one. No, it's not going to happen. As an opposition, as a people, as a nation, we have to stand up. And then when we get ostracized or taken advantage of, that's when the international partners will come in. You see that across Africa. You see it in Kenya. You see it in Tanzania. Like right now, Tanzania, they're going through a lot of hassle, because of, what they did to the young people that were killed, So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I want you guys to know that what you're seeing on the screen came from the tripartite report. And this is the tripartite report, okay? This is the tripartite report. If you scroll through, you'll find every piece of information. It has a lot of information. You can just go randomly and you'll see, like this, like right here, APC votes input local, east, the districts, the region. It's a good breakdown. You can see all of this stuff. Cardinal issues in the 2023 elections, electoral and political parties administration, all of this stuff. It's a lot of stuff that you can actually read for yourself. All the resolutions are here, like I said again. Don't wait for people to spoon feed you this information, okay? Read. That's the key. But I want to do this quick for you guys so you guys can see that if you go on social media and you'll see this, it is not new. The source document for this is from the tripartite report, okay? This is the 70% of the result reconciliation forms that was put together. And this is somebody did a good job putting this together, but this is from the tripartite report. It shows that APC had a commanding lead of 57.15% after 70% of the result reconciliation forms were collected. So, of course, 28% that was left There's no way SLPP was going to have all 28% of that. Max, let's say they have 12% of that vote. It's still going to put Dr. Samara Kamara in the lead. So from the look of things, it looks like the APC had more than 60% of the votes in the June 24th, 2023 elections. But of course, it was squashed and it was rigged and taken away from the people. So that's what it looks like. But I wanted you to see this and know that this brochure that was put together, this flyer that was put together, is from the tripartite report, okay, that you see on the screen here. This is the tripartite report, and I want you guys to know it's here. It has a lot of information, and just take the time to read it for yourself, and you'll see what I'm saying. But this is the tripartite report. It's 542 pages. It has every other document as an attachment. So this is the European Union report. It's all attached into the report itself, so you could see exactly what it is. But it's a phenomenal, report, and this is going to stand the test of time to show how the election was pretty much rigged, in Sierra Leone. But yeah, so this is the European Union, their own final report from the elections that was added to the tripartite report as well, so you can have it. It's a totality of everything. That's why it came up to like 542 pages. But this is the European, report about the elections, and you can see some of the things they said about the elections. The 2023 election, general elections, attested to Sierra Leoneans' strong commitment to democracy. On 24 June, citizens in large numbers went to the polls to elect the president, members of the parliament, mayors, and local councillors. The recently revised legal framework gave hope for enhanced integrity in the conduct of the elections and greater gender parity in politics. However, voters' trust in the credibility of elections was undermined by lack of transparency during critical stages of the process, particularly during the tabulation process, and by significant statistical inconsistencies in the results. An independent citizen observer group who voiced concerns was threatened, and its leadership had to flee the country, which is indicative to democratic backsliding. The timely and inclusive electoral reform of 2022 laid a sound basis for democratic elections. New laws included gender quota for party lists, as well as provisions that aimed to ensure ECSL's financial independence and strengthen the mandate of other institutions involved in the elections. Legislative initiatives prior to the 2023 elections led to full implementation of 5 EU EOM 2018 recommendations, while another 9 were partially implemented. The election day was generally calm, despite notably delayed opening of polling stations and isolated cases of violence. Voters patiently waited to cast their ballots. Dedicated poll workers strived to ensure a smooth voting. Citizens observers were at all polling centers, and journalists provided regular reports. Counting of the ballots was largely transparent, yet the planned electronic transmission of results from polling stations did not take place. Let me read that again. Counting of the ballots was largely transparent. That was why APC was able to have 70% of the RRF forms. However, yet the planned electronic transmission of results, so the election results should have been electronically transmitted from polling stations, did not take place. However, a lack of sufficient explanation and action by the Election Commission for Sierra Leone, ECSL, made stakeholders perturbed. Stakeholders were perturbed, disturbed, flabbergasted. That's what they're saying here. Stakeholders, their hands, they couldn't do much. It was incumbent on us. It was incumbent on the APCs, Dr. Zawura Kamara, at that time, to take to the streets and say, no, we're not going to accept this. That would have been the only way we would have had Julius Maada and his thugs out of power today at that particular time, because the international partners would have supported such a thing. But yes, so they were perturbed. Tabulation and announcements of results proved to be the tipping point for the credibility of the elections. The entire process was opaque. When it says it's opaque, the opposite of opaque is transparent, so that you can see clearly through, right? Opaque, you cannot see clearly through. It's dark. You cannot see anything. It's opaque. You can make up the silhouettes of somebody, but you're not seeing what it actually is. So the opaque, if something is not opaque, it is transparent. If it's not transparent, it is opaque. It is not clear. It's dark, all right? So the entire process was opaque. Meaningful observation was impeded, and the declaration of winners was not followed by publication of disaggregated results per polling station. On 27 June, the ECSL declared Julius Maada Bio of the Sierra Leone People's Party elected for a second term, passing the constitutional threshold of 55% in the first round by 1.17 percentage points. All right. So following the declaration, of the results of the parliamentary elections a few days later, it was clear that results totals published by the ECSL showed several statistical inconsistencies and mathematical improbabilities. Hey, Sierra Leone, what do we? How did we allow Julius Maada Bio to continue in power? How did we allow this? No other country, you would have such a report that that man would still be in power. It's not possible. It would not be possible. Not in Liberia, not in Guinea. Matter of fact, even in Sierra Leone, I have a brother, a main man. He is correct when he tells you that if it was the SLPP in opposition, this would not have happened, what happened in Sierra Leone today. I'm going to read this again. Following the declaration of the results of the parliamentary elections a few days later, it was clear that results totals published by the ECSL showed several statistical inconsistencies and mathematical improbabilities. These included notable discrepancies in the number of average valid votes per polling station between the first and second batch of presidential results, varying from a decrease of 75% to an increase of 31% per district. A difference of up to 23 percentage points per district between the turnout for the presidential and parliamentary elections, with some districts registering substantially lower parliamentary turnouts and others showing significantly lower presidential turnouts. Turnout above 90% in 5 districts and only 0.4% of invalid votes nationwide. These inconsistencies, combined with the ECSL's decision not to publish disaggregated results, undermined the credibility of the tabulation process and voters' confidence in the outcome of the polls. Anyway, guys, read the tripartite report. I've put the link in my comment section. Read it. Take the time. Take the time. Don't be a Sierra Leonean who's not reading these stuff. There's all this, because let me tell you what, Maada Bio and these guys are counting on the fact that we are not going to read. That is what they're banking on. They say Sierra Leonean people would not read. Just do some reports. Go to Lome, peace accord. Go Abuja, peace accord. Do these tripartites. They're not going to read it. They wouldn't see it. That is what they're banking on. So no matter how busy you are, try to take the time to read. Social media is not just for fun. It's not just for comedy, because I see a lot of that in the Sierra Leone social media space. Let us be serious, especially the young people. Yes, you can laugh and play for a little bit, but let that not be 80% of what you consume on social media. Be serious. Your generation is on the line. Your generations are on the line. Pay attention to your country. This is a travesty. This is the European Union report that I'm reading in the tripartite report. So just in case, it is in the tripartite report. They included the whole report. Every paragraph that you read is devastating to our reputation as a nation. That is not a democracy. What we have is a shit show. But we as Sierra Leoneans have a responsibility. Even if Dr. Sabar Kamara says, I left my case to God, you as a citizen should not leave your case to God. You should know that, okay, even if I cannot do much about this, but you should own the fact that what happened on June 24th, 2023, put aside who was the leader. Put that aside. You as a citizen, as a Sierra Leonean, ask yourself, are you proud of this moment? And if the answer is no, you have a responsibility as a citizen, because the problem in Sierra Leone, we always want to think that everything should be on one person. Sierra Leoneans want a knight in shining armor. It's not going to work that way. We as a people have to come together and make sacrifices. Without that, we're not going anywhere. All right? That is what I want to share with you guys. Okay? So I'm going to leave it right here. It's a little late. Let me relax. At least have some time for myself. I went on a run today for about 5 miles, man. It killed me. You know, so, but I'm okay. I'm just going to relax, get my legs up in the air a little bit, and have some fun. But I want to thank you all. Michael Pratt, thank you as well, my brother. Thank you. But I've shared the link in the comment section. It's the Tripartite Report. So when you see this brochure around on social media today on WhatsApp, it's not new. It's not new. It is from the Tripartite Report, okay? Everything is in there. It's in the Tripartite Report. So I'm going to leave it right here, guys. Have a good one and have a nice evening, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you, guys.